So the Raiders have fired Antonio Pierce after a 4-13 season. Tom Telesco, as I mentioned, will stay as the GM. It will be the 6th full-time permanent head coaching hire, although none of these jobs are permanent, as we know, since taking over Mark Davis did when his father Al passed in 2011. 6th coach will be hired. And when I was cranking over the weekend to try to get a feel for what was going on in all the hot spots.
Right.
With the Raiders, like we all thought this isn't sustainable, but inside the building,
yeah, I know.
Among the coaching staff, they thought it was status quo, and they thought that the substandard quarterback room would be enough
to save them,
to get them another year.
Yeah.
As one member of the coaching staff said when he learned that the quarterback options for 2024 were Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, we're going with them. So I know they thought, and we talked about it the other day, they thought they were going to get Michael Penix, that he was going to slip through the cracks. That's one of the benefits of keeping your damn mouth shut like the Falcons did. But they were undermanned at quarterback, and there was confidence that it was going to make it to another year. And one of the reasons is Mark Davis and Antonio Pierce were constantly talking about the future. And, you know, Mark Davis wants to have a friend. He had John Gruden, and they weren't good, but he was never going to fire John Gruden based upon wins and losses. And then he has a friend in Antonio Pierce. He has a friend in Tom Brady, and it could be that his friend Tom Brady worked on him. And I don't know this, but somebody got to Mark Davis. If Mark Davis had some sort of affinity for Antonio Pierce, somebody changed his mind, and Mark Davis decided to move on from Antonio Pierce because it just felt like, to those who were in the middle of it, it felt like to them that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure either. Like, I think that people like you and me, we kind of thought it would happen by just the outside appearance of things and all that, but I wasn't sure. Like, when Monday went by and they didn't fire Antonio Pierce, I was like, okay. I mean, either they're thinking about it because it's not an easy decision, or they're not going to do it. Right? And I wasn't, like, totally shocked by that, just as I wasn't shocked yesterday when he did get fired. But because of some of the thoughts you talked about, I mean, one, that they did not ever really put up that stinker game that felt like the team gave up on the coach, right? They were competitive. And I think anybody that's realistic would go, what was really expected out of that football team this year anyways? I mean, did anybody look at it and go, well, they're an under-the-radar, playoff sleeper? You mentioned it. He had to deal with a quarterback problem that really wasn't his problem. That was the last staff and GM that put that on them, along with the Devontae Adams issue that was also put on Antonio Pierce in there. So you thought, well, I don't know, maybe Mark Davis. You've mentioned before he could be a little one of the cheaper owners. Maybe he won't want to pay and get out of the contract. And I thought, maybe they're going to keep him. And I think to that point, maybe that's what Monday was. It was like not an easy decision. They had to think about it a little bit because I think there was positives there. But I think all in all, they probably got to the point where they felt like they needed to do something, excite the fan base, get it going that way. There was some mismanagement at the end of football games. That's the one thing you can point to as a negative. But yeah, he got fired, and I wasn't shocked by it yesterday.
The Black Friday game was the one where,
yeah,
as much as I respect Antonio Pierce, and he's done an impressive job as a coach to basically come out of nowhere, land on the prior coaching staff with Josh McDaniels, end up being the interim coach, and then do well enough as the interim coach to earn an opportunity. And that's what we were saying a year ago. Give the guy a chance. And they did. 1 year is your chance. But you got one hand tied behind your back at quarterback. No offense to Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. But that's less than what other teams, especially in their division, were taking into the fray. With Bo Nix, who was one of the finalists for Rookie of the Year on the offensive side of the ball. Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. It's no surprise the Raiders are fourth place in their division. They're in one of the toughest divisions in all of football.
Right.
So, and now the challenge is to find somebody better. And some teams have skewed away from, we just got to fire a coach and hire a new one, because they recognize there's no guarantee that the next coach is going to be any better than this coach, so let's try to work with the current coach. and not just keep doing the lather, rinse, repeat of a new regime every 2 or 3 years. Let's stick with somebody. Let's try to establish continuity. So who do the Raiders go after at this point? The fact that they didn't move as quickly as the Patriots, might put them at a disadvantage if Tom Brady is already whispering into Mark Davis's ear that he'd like his former teammate Mike Vrabel to be the head coach. And that was the vibe in league circles last half of the season.
Yeah.
That
right.
Mike Vrabel to the Raiders makes sense because Brady will want him there. They're close. We didn't know or think or believe. I mean, we were kind of like, is Gerard Mayo talking his way out of a job? But it really didn't become something that was boiling until the last week or so. And now, and we're going to talk about the Patriots and their apparent pursuit of their top choice, Mike Vrabel, in a minute. But, it's Vrabel or who? Who stands out as somebody that would be desirable and who would want that job, given that, they got work to do to make that team better in one of the best divisions in football.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, they got work to do. It's not going to be an easy task. The first thing is, you need the quarterback, right? They failed Antonio Pierce in that by thinking that the quarterback was just going to fall to them in 12. So that's where I feel bad for Antonio Pierce in that regard, because he wasn't given a fair shake totally there with the proper team excitement, anything like that. That didn't bode well for him. But yeah, they're at a point here where, you feel like they got to do something shocking a little bit. They've moved to Las Vegas, and they've yet to, really have make a known presence in the NFL as the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think that's the big thing. And there's not a lot of excitement or something down the road to look at and go, oh, wow, hey, they got this coming up the ranks. Yeah, there's Brock Bowers. There's Max Crosby. After that, it kind of gets to, and then they're okay, yeah, there's Jacoby Myers. But there's not many household names is what I'm saying. So, yeah, when somebody goes there, you're right. I mean, this is one of the jobs that seems like it's got a lot of work to do on both sides of the football. It's a GM in place that we've talked about before that won't be coming in with the head coach. Tom Telesco's there. Not all head coaches love that, right? Is a guy like Mike Vrabel who knows how he wants things done. And, yeah, I know him and Brady are close. And, 6-7 weeks ago, I walked into the viewing room and said I was hearing these type of things. Like, they're going to have a conversation, but is Vrabel going to like the setup of the rest of the organization? That's the big thing. Ben Johnson's of the world. Are they going to like that? I got to imagine Tom Brady, who knows offense and knows offensive football, is looking at Ben Johnson's offense and going, damn, I'd like that. That reminds me a lot of Josh McDaniels, Charlie Weiss, that type of stuff. Let's get him, to our football team. But there's obstacles to overcome there, and that's going to be the big thing. But I don't think Vrabel takes the Patriots' job without talking to Brady and the Raiders in a serious way first. At least that would be my, opinion or my thought on that as we go forward here, Mike.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.